The fluorescent lights buzzed above the greasy counter of a Toronto burger joint, where the air smelled of sizzling patties and faintly burned dreams. Ilya Sutskever, barely 17 years old, flipped hamburger patties with a distracted rhythm. Born in Russia, raised in Israel, and now chasing a new life in Canada, Ilya wasn't your average teen. His lanky frame moved mechanically, but his mind? It was a storm of numbers, algorithms, and a burning obsession with artificial intelligence. A math student at the University of Toronto, Ilya didn't just see equations, he saw a future where machines could think. It was 2003, and the world wasn't ready for his vision. Most folks thought AI was a sci-fi pipe dream, a relic of the 80s optimism that had fizzled out. But Ilya? He had already heard whispers of a professor at his university, a man named Geoffrey Hinton. They called him brilliant. Years later, the world would crown him as the godfather of AI. But back then, Geoffrey Hinton was just a guy with wild ideas, toiling in a field most researchers had already written off. Ilya couldn't wait. One chilly afternoon, he tossed his apron aside and he grabbed his worn-out backpack and marched across the campus to Hinton's office. His sneakers squeaked on the linoleum floor as he stood before the door. His heart was pounding like a drum. No plan, no appointment, just a kid with a dream. The door creaked open, and there was Hinton, glasses perched on his nose, surrounded by stacks of papers and the faint glow of a computer screen. "I want to join your AI lab," Ilya blurted. His voice was steady, but his palms were sweaty. Hinton blinked. He was caught off guard. "Make an appointment," he said. Already, he turned back to his work. Ilya shot back, "What about now?" Hinton raised an eyebrow. He was amused, but skeptical. This kid had guts. He reached for a dense AI paper, the kind that made grad students sweat, and he handed it to Ilya. "Come back when you've finished reading this." A week later, Ilya was back, the paper dog-eared in his hand. "I don't understand it," he admitted. His honesty was raw, and Hinton smirked, ready to dismiss him. "It's just basic calculus." But Ilya wasn't done. He leaned forward, his eyes were blazing. "Why don't you take the derivatives and give them to a sensible function optimizer?" The room went quiet. Hinton froze. That question! It was the kind of insight that it had taken him 5 years to piece together. This scrawny teen who barely knew the field was already thinking like a pioneer. So Hinton handed Ilya another paper, this one even thornier. "Read this, come back." Ilya returned, the same story. "I don't understand it." He said the same thing again. But this time Hinton didn't just brush him off. "Why not?" he said. And he leaned in. Ilya's answer was a spark in the dark. You train one neural network per problem. Why not one for all the problems? Hinton invited Ilya to join his lab, knowing full well that the kid was years behind the others. Grad students with PhDs and egos eyed him warily. This hamburger-flipping freshman who barely knew the jargon. But weeks passed, and something shifted. His ideas poured out, each one sharper and bolder, more audacious than the last. Hinton watched in awe, realizing that this wasn't just a normal student. This was a force. That knock on Hinton's door, it wasn't just a moment. It was the spark that lit the AI revolution, a fire that would change the world. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more stories that ignite the future. This is Ted.